Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to South Florida. It's the Brewers and the Marlins in a homestand that will wrap up the first half of the season with the All-Star festivities about a week away. Brewers in town, the first place Milwaukee Brewers turn to Chase Anderson, while the Marlins counter with Jose Urena tonight. And look who's back, Christian Yelich. And we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, a lot to be excited about in this first half of the season. It all wraps up, and the thing here is stay focused before the All-Star break, right?
Yeah, you want to play strong. You want to finish strong right up until the break, and it is a bit of a grind. We talked about this throughout that Nationals series. You got to push hard. You got to play hard all the way up until the last inning on Sunday. Everybody's got to do it. We even heard it from the Brewers. They were saying the same thing. This is a big road trip for them because they don't want to let down after a strong homestand.
Absolutely. Well, around the Marlins, a lot to be excited about, especially if you're JT Realmuto. All-Star, baby. Or should I say all-star, baby. He's not with the team. He's on paternity leave, but did find out yesterday he is an all-star for the first time in his career.
And well-deserved. I mean, goodness gracious, we've been ranting and raving, well, since he got here this year off the disabled list. I mean, since showing up, I mean, look at the numbers. 317, 84 hits, 20 doubles, 919 OPS. And again, we're showing you the offensive side, not even the defensive side. Listen, the one thing that I'm really proud about JT Realmuto this season is the fact that he has stepped into the spotlight and he's allowed his game to blossom. He didn't take last year and say, status quo, I'll be who I am, and this team is kind of going in a different direction. He has taken a leadership role. He has been more active in the clubhouse, and obviously you see the results on the field. It is transitioning onto the field, and again, congratulations, first time an All-Star.
And first time a father as well, so congratulations to the family. If we get any word, we'll pass that along to you. On the other side of things, again, Christian Yelich is back here in Miami, and boy, oh boy, is he having a great first half. He, too, a first-time All-Star.
Well, many Marlins fans have seen Christian Yelich be, an outstanding outfielder. Probably should have gone to the All-Star game by now. This is the first time he gets to go. I think the one thing that's changed for Yelly is the fact that he's on a team that is 54-36, and he's getting a lot more pub in the National League Central atop that division on a winning team right now than maybe he gets down here in Miami, a team that had played good baseball a couple of different seasons with him. But again, sometimes that noise just not loud enough, and I think he really capitalized on that momentum, getting himself to the All-Star game. The one thing really he's done different this year, he's played a few more outfield positions. That's about it.
Right.
Numbers are pretty much the same.
Yeah, much more flexible out in left field tonight with Eric Thames, the leadoff hitter, in right field. We step aside here as we get set for the first pitch, but when we come back, a little bit more on JT Realmuto, the All-Star, the dad-to-be. Craig and Nelly are back in a moment.
his first All-Star game. He'll be going, and he's also going to be a proud papa. At any moment, he and Lexi celebrating. He is on paternity leave. Now, we'll get Nellie's thoughts, but first, let's listen to Don Mattingly as JT was selected not by the players. He was a manager add-on representing the Marlins.
I don't know how that all goes and how they do it. Shocking, actually, to me. And, because the players, they wanted to vote because they felt like there were guys that best players sometimes weren't getting in. And I think a lot of people could argue that JT really should be starting this game with his numbers and what he's accomplished so far this year. So, yeah, that was kind of surprising to me.
After the fan vote, players vote 8 position players in each league plus the DH in the AL and 8 pitchers as well in each league.
Take it away.
They didn't get the vote. They got Posey was the pick over Real Muto.
Right, and I agree with Mattingly that he should be starting the game probably because of his numbers. As far as the players not picking him, I would go back the old way where the managers throw in a bunch of names on their own team, throw them in and give them to the all-star manager, the last year's World Series winner, that would be Dave Roberts, and he gets to choose. Obviously, every team needs to be represented. I think as a player, they don't take it serious enough. There's a guy, Blake Snell, with the Tampa Rays that should have made it, 12-4 with a 2.04 ERA, didn't even get chosen either. Chris Archer came out, well, the players didn't get it right. It's all on the players. Yes, it's on the players. If you look at the ballot, you're going to vote for your own team and you're going to vote for your friends. You don't care. And also, I think the schedule has something to do with it. If you look at the schedule, the Marlins play the NL East in your own division a number of times. So the Central doesn't care about the East. The West doesn't care about the East. So they're going to vote guys that they know. And then, they don't know Real Muto. They know Posey. So you know what? Good for him that he made the team. Now he'll finally get his recognition that he's deserved. And maybe you'll see multiple All-Stars for Real Muto.
And good luck to JT and Lexi up in Palm Beach County there. Welcoming a new Real Muto to the world. We'll let you know when we get the details. Brewers and the Marlins, though. Game 1 of this 3-game series is coming up from Marlins Park. Stay tuned.
Series here before an off day on Thursday, a well-needed one, by the way. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Here is the Milwaukee Brewers starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. We talked about Christian Yelich. It's third. And how about Jesus Aguilar, part of that final vote for the All-Star game? He is cleaning up, but it's Eric Thames to lead things off, and he takes a called strike. We are underway. So Thames, just by looking at him, doesn't seem to be your prototypical leadoff hitter.
Well, he's a modern leadoff hitter, right? Gets on base, takes a walk, and hits homers.
That's right. That's right. He's built a little bit thicker than a Vince Coleman, maybe, but still doing a terrific job 13 homers, 27 RBIs, and to Holly's point, a .346 on-base percentage. He takes outside. 2 balls and a strike from Jose Urena.
Who is still looking for his first home win. It just doesn't seem right. 3.88 ERA here at Marlins Park. He's given up 7 of his 9 home runs. Keep an eye on that. This is a home run hitting team. In the Brewers, that's what they like to do. They like to hit home runs and steal bases. So keep an eye. Again, as I said, 7 of the home runs that he's given up, or 7 of the 9 he's given up here at Marlins Park. Now lefties 277, righties 233. His first start off the disabled list back on July 4th. Solid start versus the Rays. 5 innings, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts, 78 pitches.
But there's a strikeout right there as Thames is retired for the first out of the game.
All right, here's your Marlins defense for this evening's ball game. Cooper gets the start in left, Maben in center, Anderson in right, Prado, Riddle, Castro, JB at first base. Holiday gets the start behind home plate, Urena on the mound. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Marlins pitchers, Holiday behind the plate.
Foul ball down the line.
Brewers base runners. They like to steal bases. 71 of them, most in Major League Baseball. They a lot of times will pick their spots to run, but they do like to be aggressive on the bases. So we'll see how that plays into tonight's ball game. Holiday behind the plate.
Craig Counsell in his 4th year as the manager of the Brewers, and Lorenzo Cain in his 1st year, kind of sorta, with the Milwaukee Brewers. Takes outside. Of course, he was originally a 17th round pick of Milwaukee in 2004. But traded in December of 2010, went to the Kansas City Royals, and then signed a 5-year, $80 million deal with Milwaukee this past offseason. Fresh off the DL a couple of days ago, and set for a 1-2 from Urena. Christian Yelich waits on deck.
But I would expect Urena using that 4-seam fastball with arm side run, slider and change. Again, he's got great stuff. We've already seen 97. He's going to bring out that arsenal, particularly to the top of the Brewers lineup. This is where a lot of their more talented hitters sit. Cain, Yelich.
Backhanded by Bohr, and the flip to Urena, 2 away. Well, the first at-bat back here in Miami as Jose Urena will face Christian Yelich. A warm welcome for sure for Yelich. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it straight back. Well, he's among the National League leaders in runs scored, tied for 9th in the NL with 55 of them. But 59 home runs, 293 RBIs in his career with the Marlins. And the 0-1 on the way from Urena. Fouls that one back. Of course, a first-round pick, 23rd overall back in 2010 for the Marlins. Went to Milwaukee. Isan Diaz, Monte Harrison, Jordan Yamamoto, and of course Lewis Brinson, who still is on the disabled list. Little hip inflammation for him. And now the 0-2 on the way, misses low.
Yeah, that's the changeup at 89 miles an hour. Well, for Yelich, not a whole lot has changed. Obviously, the success of the Brewers franchise off to a great start, leading the National League Central currently. Certainly thrilled to have Yelich on board. He has been more of a 2-spot hitter in this lineup, this Brewers lineup. Last year, remember, he hit 3rd behind Stanton 144 times. His numbers really didn't change. Everybody's like, okay, well, what was the difference last year to this year when you look at the OPS, the home runs, the RBIs, the type of production? I said, Not much has changed other than the fact that he does play all 3 outfield spots. Now he's made 29 starts in right field. Never did that as a Marlin. This year he's hitting in that 2 spot a lot more than the 3rd spot.
And just out of the reach of JT Riddle, a base hit the other way. And a 2-out knock for Christian Yelich in his return to Miami.
Well, Yelich known for moving the ball around the yard. We're talking line to line. Many Marlins fans have seen this for the past few seasons. No surprise here with 2 strikes. It goes the other way through the vacated hole on the left side.
So he is aboard to extend the inning for Jesus Aguilar, who is part of that final vote for the All-Star game. 6 for 11 this year with a home run, 5 RBIs against the Marlins, but don't feel bad. He's been doing that to just about everybody as of late.
Final vote?
Yeah.
Final vote? This guy should be at the All-Star game. Are you kidding me? Look at those numbers.
Yeah. 22 homers, 63 RBIs, a 306 average.
I bet he finishes top. If you were to have an MVP vote right now, he would be top 3. I don't know how he wouldn't be. And he's in the final 5?
Well, a lot of those numbers, I'm with you, but a lot of those numbers have come in the last few weeks. In his last 20 games, he's hitting .357 with 11 homers and 26 RBIs.
10 multi-hit games in those 20 games. How about an OPS of 1.286? Yeah, it's just a lot of numbers.
Yeah, big ones. A lot of big numbers. Ahead in the count, a ball and no strikes as Urania deals. In there for a called strike, says the home plate umpire and crew chief Brian Gorman. Mike Machlinski is over at first base, Adrian Johnson at second, and Trip Gibson, the umpire, at third. This one is sent out to left field, and Garrett Cooper is there. Yelich is stranded after a 2-out single by Urania. Back here at Marlins Park, Brewers and Marlins first of 3 as Starlin Castro will lead things off in the Marlins starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Of course, the one big missing piece is JT Realmuto on paternity leave, but it's Brian Holliday behind the plate hitting 8 in front of Jose Urania. But boy, oh boy, how hot, I can't even say it, has Starlin Castro been to the gap in left center field, and this will be extra bases on the first swing of the game. All right, so I'll do it after the fact.
I'm telling you right now, you throw a pork chop up there, he'd hit it off the wall.
His 22nd double, now an 8-game hit streak, and he's got 6 multi-hit games in that span.
Yeah, little two-seam fastball at the belt, just trying to start this game off, right? You know, Starlin Castro got in the box ready to hit, and why not? 3 multi-hit games in D.C. Let's go ahead and keep that theme rolling. He has been on fire and a good start tonight.
Unbelievably hot, Starlin Castro. And in scoring position already for Brian Anderson, who has been unbelievable in these spots this year. He was 1 for 6 yesterday in Washington, but 4 for 13 on the road trip, that short 4-game road trip through the nation's capital. He offers at the first pitch from Anderson, and that one is foul back, 0-1.
Now, certainly worth mentioning here in the first inning. You know, obviously yesterday a big day offensively for the Marlins. They went 1-3 in D.C., played much better than the 1-3 record. How about 52 hits in those 4 games? Did have 40 singles, but you got to do better than 35 left on base. That is the one thing that was
down the right field line, and it's 0-2. So it's Chase Anderson tonight for the Milwaukee Brewers, his 18th start of the year.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. He's pitched better than the 3.99 ERA. Quality starts in 8 of 17. He's coming off a pretty good start. Career 3.15 ERA and 3 starts here at Marlins Park. That last start, 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 Ks versus the Twins.
And he's been on a nice little run his last 3 starts. 1-0 with a 1.56 ERA. But the Marlins trying to dent the scoreboard here in the first after the leadoff double by Castro. Anderson set to see a 1-2 pitch, and this one into right field. It will stay up for Thames, and that is the first out.
Well, let's go ahead and get you the AutoNation scouting report of Chase Anderson. He is on a roll. You mentioned it. 1 earned run allowed in each of his last 3 starts. 1.56 ERA. How about only 7 hits allowed in his last 17 1/3 innings? 123 batting average against. Obviously, Starlin Castro started this game off just the way you wanted to. Now, dubious distinction. This is what makes, well, Anderson's season a little weird. He's allowed 17 home runs, 9 doubles and 1 triple. So do the math. I mean, goodness gracious, he's given up an awful lot more home runs. He is 9th in Major League Baseball with only 6.46 hits per 9, but 1.62 home runs per 9. So, I mean, my goodness, it's basically he's making pitchers pitches, or he's at times missing out over the plate. And oh, by the way, he's been a road warrior. 2.88 ERA away from Miller Park. So good numbers there, 180 batting average against.
Down on the count, a ball and no strikes to Justin Bohr. Bohr 2 for 5 yesterday, a double, 2 RBIs. He had a double in yesterday's ball game. I repeat, a double in yesterday's ball game. He and the next guy up, Martin Prado, had the 2 extra base hits. The other 20 hits for the Marlins yesterday, singles.
Had a good talk with Frank Menachino before the ball game, trying to find out the approach here against Chase Anderson, who's been throwing the ball very well for the Brewers, and again playing off of yesterday's numbers. He said, let's keep the same approach, midfield approach, middle, left center field to right center field, and do a better job of not leaving guys on base. He certainly was proud of the efforts yesterday. 8 for 20 with runners in scoring position, but again using the big part of the field. Anderson, 5-pitch arsenal.
Essentially hits behind, albeit right at Castro, but he'll advance to third on the ground ball to short. 2 away. So a closer look at yesterday. Season high 22 hits. They had 10 runs, which was the 3rd most this season, and 20 singles, the 2nd most in club history, behind another game in July, the 15th of 1996 against the Houston Astros. that's, you know, kind of what we talked about as Marti Prado digs in. At times yesterday was like, okay, they salvage the last game of a 4-game series, so they leave Washington having lost 3 of 4. You look at it that way, and it doesn't sound great, doesn't jive. And this game is based on wins and losses. I get it, but they won a game, and for 5 innings at least of all the other games, they were in it. And the one game they got blown out, they had battled back and forth with Max Scherzer through the first 5-6 innings.
Well, they responded when the game was being quite cruel to the team on the whole. I mean, that's just it. You get walked off on Friday nights. You run into Scherzer. You handle yourself, you know, pretty well against him, and then you run into a buzzsaw mid-innings. And then you come back on getaway day, leaving town, and show up and put together your best offensive game. And they had a couple of good showings already in the series. And we've talked about this an awful lot. A very, very resilient Marlins team this season. Here's the Brewers for tonight's game defensively. Christian Yelich making his 35th start in left field tonight. He's also played center and right, as we mentioned earlier. Kane, Thames over in right, Shaw, Perez, Miller, Aguilar, Nottingham behind the plate. He's making his 4th start behind the plate for Anderson.
Yeah, some roster moves for the Milwaukee Brewers the last couple of days. Nottingham gets the start today. Stephen Vogt's been on the 60-day DL. Manny Pena with a left bicep, just currently recently placed on the disabled list. No swing for Prado, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And they got Lorenzo Cain back yesterday with Ryan Braun going on the DL. So a lot of moving parts for this Brewers team.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think the Brewers organization is probably most proud of here in the first half. They've had some guys go down to injury, but the depth of the organization has already shown itself in the first half. They've been able to play through some of these injuries.
Prado swings and misses to end the first inning. First strikeout tonight for Chase Anderson. Scoreless through 1. And we take you back to April. Shaw won that battle at Miller Park to left center field, a home run, one of his 15 so far this year.
Yeah, that was a bit of a theme early in April, right, as the Brewers were trying to get going offensively. I remember the storylines throughout that series, but this is Marlins Park. And we'll see how it goes this time through. He was 5 for 10 in that series, had a couple home runs.
time called. After Shaw, it's Brad Miller and Hernan Perez for the Milwaukee Brewers, who come to town after a very successful 6-1 homestand. They beat Minnesota and Atlanta to wrap up their home portion of the first half of the season at 30-18. Last year they had won 46 games at home all year. So very nice start, and I guess finish to their home schedule as this first place team gears up for the final run before the All-Star break, and then the second half where they will be fighting off the likes of the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals, led by Craig Counsell.
Watch out for the Cincinnati Reds too, by the way. They've just been playing great baseball over the last month or so, about 6 weeks. Not that they are necessarily coming, but you're going to have to play games against them all second half.
And that one to Bohr at first. Shaw is retired. It's time now for the Toyota Trend. How many days have they spent in first place? 59 already. Look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, 89 days in first place. My goodness. But Milwaukee and kind of starting to gear up for the trade deadline. We've heard a lot of rumors, and now things are starting to narrow down a little bit. And it sounds like, to some, that the Brewers are not just in on a guy like Manny Machado, but might be toward the top with the different pieces that they have. A lot of center fielders and shortstops in their system.
You're dropping like an all-in bomb. Like, you know, it takes all your chips to get them. You need to slide them all into the middle of the table. That's where the Brewers are. Is that what you're hearing?
Well, looking 5 years from now, you think the Cubs will be pretty good?
Yeah, they
you think
probably
the Cardinals
will
be pretty good?
Yeah.
You know, so this one tap foul. So you know what I mean? If you're the Brewers, I totally get it. You don't. In a game where you say this all the time, there is no certainty in this game.
No, there's none.
No predictability in this game. The Cubs being good for a while is about as predictable as it gets. So if you're in first place, and they had a great run last year, it makes all the sense in the world. Go back a few years, CC Sabathia.
Well, they're going to have to fend off that Cubs team. The Cubs have had their number for a while.
There's Riddle up the middle, spins and throws, and gets Miller for the second out.
I'll tell you what, you watch JT Riddle play this game, at times you might find yourself yawning through a incredible play. This is like one of them. Yeah, it's just a walk in the park. Ball up the middle, down to both knees, and this spin and throw gets him by a good step. He is so smooth, so unassuming. Very little reaction. Just about as steady as they come. I'll tell you what, he continues to impress with his play each day. He gets the opportunity to start.
Hernan Perez takes the ball outside. Well, Riddle slick with the glove and really around the diamond for this Marlins team. They will catch the baseball. 1-1.
Tell you what, good signs from Urania early. 28 pitches in. He's got the two-seam fastball in the zone. He's starting it just off the edges and running it back to the corners. His command looks outstanding. He's a good changeup. You saw it on the last pitch at 91 miles an hour, and he's mixed in a couple of sliders as well.
Well, he's been a lot better as of late, just in terms of, you know, the big numbers, the ERAs, as this one lined into the seats. And a heck of a catch by a little guy down the line. How about that? Bring your glove, get a souvenir. He is ready. Wow, that is the Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day.
Yeah, stared it down with his Marlins jersey on. That's an all-star catch right there.
Through some traffic. A strikeout of Perez. A 1-2-3 second inning. Yeah, take a deep breath, young man. You earned it. Heck of a play. could get anything done against Chase Anderson. It's JT Riddle, Garrett Cooper, and Cameron Maben due up here in the bottom of the second. JT Riddle 3 for 6 yesterday, a run scored, 2 RBIs. It was 4 for 10 in Washington, and he starts the homestand with a base hit through the right side. Well, Riddle has been very hot. He's now 19 of his last 50 over his last 12 games started. And
380?
If that's what the numbers are, sure. I'm not quick with the numbers. You can tell me 2 for 4. I'll be guessing on what the math is on that for an hour. If you say 380, I'll buy it. Anytime I go raw numbers, it's because I can't figure out the average, just so you know.
19 for 50. There you go. All right.
A ball outside to Garrett Cooper. Pinch hit yesterday, 0 for 1 in his first game against the Milwaukee Brewers, but a part of their farm system last year, a little bit with the Brewers, traded over to the Yankees right around this time, right at the All-Star break last year. And with the Brewers and Yankees farm systems last year, 4 stops along the way, 4 different levels, or at least 4 different cities that he played in. 377, 35 doubles, 18 home runs, and 90 RBIs. Came over with Caleb Smith, and now the Marlins hoping that some of that power translates to their lineup here in 2018. Was activated off the 60-day disabled list on Friday. He got a few at-bats in D.C. This one chopped up the middle from glove to glove and over to first. A pretty 6-4-3 double play.
Show your Nicaraguan pride as the Marlins celebrate Nicaraguan Heritage Night this Saturday. Receive an exclusive Nicaraguan Heritage jersey with purchase of a ticket package. Visit marlins.com/Nicaraguan to get your tickets today.
Here's Cameron Maben, nobody on and 2 out. And in there for a called strike. Maben 1 for 10 in the series in Milwaukee, but had a couple of walks as well. Yesterday, 2 for 4 with 2 walks. It was 4 for 13 in the series in Washington. Again, Maben's been getting increased playing time with Lewis Brinson on the disabled list. Riding a 5-game hit streak. Fouls it back to the screen, 1-2.
For Anderson tonight, 4-seam fastball, sinker, cutter, change, and curve. Uses that entire arsenal to both sides of the plate. Varying percentages.
This one off of Anderson, kicked over to third. Shaw off balance, but Maben will reach. And all eyes of the Brewers dugout on their starting pitcher, Chase Anderson, who says he's all right.
Well, it definitely sounded like it got shoo. You could hear it up here in the broadcast booth. Big breaking ball. It hit the dirt first. It wasn't him on the line. I think it hit the ground and came up and got him. Just the heel. He is up and ready to go.
So Maben on at first, now a 6-game hit streak for Cam as Brian Holiday digs in and takes ball 1. Don Mattingly said before the game today it'll probably be Brian Holiday all 3 games, but Chad Wallach recalled from AAA with JT Realmuto going on the paternity list. JT figures to miss the 3 games of this series. Cameron off and in there safely at second base. And popped out of Nottingham's glove.
Yeah, love the aggressiveness aggressiveness on the bases from Maben. He got a great jump, good 3-4 steps before that ball was on its way. Not even a throw down to second base. And we've talked about the number of hits this Marlins team has been getting, 52 coming into today. Of course, 40 of those being singles. You have to find a way to get those guys around. You cannot be leaving 35 men on base over a 4-game set, or even like tonight. Of course, the leadoff runners have been on in both innings. Marlins have yet to score.
Maben dances off of second as Anderson delivers the 2-1 outside.
Holliday's done a very nice job behind the plate. 24th game started tonight. 5th time catching Urania.
Here's the 3-1 now to Holliday, and that one misses a little low, and it's first and second, 2 outs. Middle game of the 3-game series is tomorrow. Jolie Chassin and Pablo Lopez, the 2 starting pitchers. The Marlins live pregame show on the air at 6:30, and the first pitch a little after 7. It'll be Lopez's 3rd start, second here at Marlins Park. 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. Of course, he started the game in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, staked to that 9-0 lead. It wasn't necessarily him, so to speak. The bullpen kind of played into it as well, but it was one of those learning situations, which I'm sure we can talk about at length tomorrow, to try to get through that 5th inning. Now Urania with 2 on and 2 out. Urania squares to bunt, takes low and outside, and out to the mound goes Nottingham to chat with Chase Anderson. Anderson's last start against the Minnesota Twins, Milwaukee had 3 home runs, 3 solo home runs, and they won that game 3-2. He cruised through the first 6 innings. The first runner that got to second base was Joe Mauer on a leadoff double in the 4th inning. But he said afterwards he had a tough time commanding the 4-seam fastball, which he gets by Urania right there, 2-1. He threw 46 4-seam fastballs in that last start. 43% for strikes. Here's the 2-1. Urania lays it down right back to Anderson, who throws to first, and the inning is over. transparency, low fares, nothing to hide by WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today, and by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. It is a scoreless game, top of the third. We go downstairs to Craig Minervini.
Well, Paul, it might be the best catch of the year considering the line drive. Nobody helped. Sebastian Dimitrov, he's only 10 years old, from Fort Pierce. I mean, that was a heck of a catch. Have you made a better catch than that in a Little League game?
No.
Tell me about what was happening when that ball was coming in your direction. With your buddies here, your dad, other people?
I didn't have enough time to react. I just put my glove out and prayed.
Were you surprised you made the catch?
Yes.
Now, when it hit, was it hard or?
No, it kind of hit right in the spot.
Oh, you caught it in the sweet spot, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great play. Have you always dreamed about getting a ball at a major league game?
Yeah. I've got a lot from games. That was probably the first ball I've ever caught on the fly from a player.
Now, we saw the shot of you. It looked like you had a little sigh after. Were you nervous on that one?
Yes.
But you saved everybody. Did you save, like even this gentleman here, sir? Did he save you? He does not speak English, but good catch, huh?
Excellent.
Okay. Well, you saved. I know he's very popular in the group here because he saved especially these people here. Were you concerned a little bit?
Oh, yeah. He came out like a laser and he put his hand up and caught it right away. It was amazing.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Sebastian, well done. Sebastian Dimitrov with a big catch here, guys. I think it might be the catch of the year, at least in the crowd.
Without question. I mean, just the reaction time, unbelievable. Although JT Riddle has given him a run for his money on the defensive side today. A nice running play to retire Nottingham for the first out here in inning number 3. I mean, it was just a laser right into the kid's glove. Great play.
Sebastian, that was an absolutely fantastic catch. And I'll tell you what, it was a pretty good interview, too. I bet he's probably just as nervous being on camera, but he handled himself like a pro. Beautiful catch, kept his eye on the ball. No sense of getting out of the way. Look at the man next to him, the one that doesn't speak any English. Conversation's still going, by the way, as the ball went by. There it is. Well done.
Awesome stuff.
Pretty neat smile, too, for a young man.
Urania with the underhand flip to get his counterpart Anderson for the second out. Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. 2 quick outs here in the third. Back to the top of the order. Here is Eric Thames. In off the inside corner. 1-0. Struck out in the first inning. One of 2 strikeouts the first trip through the order for Urania.
I got it.
Now, one thing Urania has done very well here in the first half of the season, 121 groundouts coming in to today's start. Now, first time through the lineup, he's got 5 of them. Of course, 2 strikeouts as well. The point being, that's 6th most in the National League. That's one area that he has really improved upon this season.
Well, his last 3 outings started in Baltimore, 8 innings. And he was terrific that day, and I believe it was a tight ball game, right? It was a 2-0, 3-1. It was a tight ball game. I remember Don Mattingly saying if we had a larger lead, he probably could have gone out for the 9th inning. But you go back through kind of how this season has gone for Urania. First 5 starts, a 5.88 ERA. 12 starts since, 3.58.
There's some numbers that I always like to look at. Urania trying, and I certainly enjoy trying to prove, how much he is improved. His 2-9 record doesn't lend us to that thought right off the top, does it? Much better walks per 9, 2.09.
Thames to right field, and that will fall in fair. A couple of feet inside the line, and Thames turning toward third. Prado's throw is not in time. A triple for Eric Thames. Just kept that one fair.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I'll tell you what, he sure did. You know, Urania got all in his kitchen. He did not hit this ball particularly hard, but there was no defense there. Soft spot in the D, right? Look at this ball check up. Ryan Anderson was playing way over in right center field, so he had a long way to go. Of course, that ball takes him into the corner. Thames hustling all the way.
I think it's fair to say, being somewhat facetious but also truthful, he muscled that one down the right field line. And now Kane right side past the dive of Starlin Castro. An RBI for Lorenzo Kane, and the Brewers on the board 1-0 here in the third.
Now two-seam fastball away. Kane looking to go away. Remember, he grounded out to first his first time up. Was really trying to stay inside the baseball. Gets a pitch he likes and drives it through the right side. Brewers on the scoreboard 1-0. Now, we've seen this a number of times this season. This certainly is not predicting what's about ready to happen throughout the rest of this ball game, but we've seen Urania at times kind of fall into that, you know, bam, bam, bam spot in the lineup where the opposition kind of gets the best of him for a few pitches in a row.
Two outs for Yelich, who had a base hit in the first inning. It was Yelich and Kane, both acquired within hours of one another this offseason to really help propel the winter for the Milwaukee Brewers and get them set for 2018. And so far the returns have been good on both as they lead the National League Central by a game and a half. That one up the middle, off the mound, but Riddle has it. And the inning is over. Brewers up 1-0. The fantasy auction bundles are available and on sale right now. Visit marlins.com/fantasy. So the bundles, you see what they've got. We'll kind of walk through it as Starlin Castro takes a ball inside. So the fantasy auction is July 26th. You get one of these, right? I mean, the toys in here are unbelievable. So you got a rally sleeve.
Got to have a rally sleeve.
Got to have a rally sleeve. You can have a hat. In case you don't want to, you bald head like me, you don't want to get sunburned, you get a Marlins hat.
That's a good idea for you.
Okay. Then you've got, right here, the fantasy auction, 2 passes to that for the party. Thursday, July 26th at 5 o'clock at the 5th base. Okay, outside the ballpark. You get 2 tickets to the game as well. And you see that signed baseball. This one is from Don Mattingly, but there are other players that you can get.
Awesome.
Right. So you got to check that out. And all the money goes to charity, which is terrific. And again, that is Marlins.com/fantasy for all the different information that you've got, different giveaways, all kinds of different stuff. So that particular night is going to be a little bit more of a non-traditional broadcast, right? We'll have Craig Minervini is going to be around at the auction site, which will be set up here around the ballpark.
Yeah, what we do is we take Craig and we give him a lot of caffeine before that. So take Craig and multiply it by 2.
Well, we don't want to scare people off now.
No.
We want people involved.
That's what people love about Craig is when he's like a dynamo. And it's Craig at his best.
Right.
So we're going to give him lots and lots of espresso before that night starts.
Cafecito.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, all right, that's your Marlins.com/fantasy for all the information. But yes, that will be a very fun night. Again, all proceeds benefit the Marlins Foundation, so we are looking for that. And again, the auction bundles on sale now. Selling them on the concourse here at the ballpark, so if you're here at the yard, you can check that out. It'll be a fun night about 3 weeks from now as Brian Anderson with a base hit into left field. And he is aboard with 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, 2-seam fastball kind of hunting in. You see Anderson looking down the barrel. That is his 100th hit of the season. I'll tell you what, he has been so impressive. Most by a Marlins rookie before the All-Star break. All time. I think it would be sooner or later we start dropping those all-time bombs on Anderson.
Here's Justin Bohr, who takes outside. I must say, I know I've had a couple of rants about Brian Anderson should be in the mix for Rookie of the Year in the National League. I've seen it in some places that he has been outside the top 5 and not even be mentioned. But I will be fair. I will bring the other side of that argument to the light right now. Jeff Passan, terrific writer with Yahoo Sports, today had his first half awards based solely on the first half, not the front runners for the actual awards at the end of the season, but who would be the first half National League Rookie of the Year. And for as great as Juan Soto has been, Jeff Passan chose Brian Anderson.
Love it.
So that is the kind of the national attention. I mean, I think we pretty much cornered the market on the local, the regional level, but it's the national attention on this young man who has put together a great first half. Make sure that he certainly gets some love.
Well, I've always known Jeff Passan to be a fair and reasonable man. Well-written article.
Yeah.
Really not concerned with anything else he wrote other than Brian Anderson, but that's fantastic.
That was it.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Passan, a very, very well-respected writer inside baseball, no doubt about it.
3 balls and a strike to Bohr, who grounded out to shortstop in his first at-bat. Three and two with Anderson away from first base. And Chase Anderson delivers. Brian Anderson on the run, but that one fouled off toward the Brewers dugout.
Now that cutter, boy, oh boy. JB got around it. Wider right in the Brewers dugout. Couldn't help but think that's blame that on your starting pitcher for throwing it in there the way that he did. JB in self-defense. It's one of those odd foul balls that you see. I mean, it was literally about halfway down the Brewers dugout.
Well, Anderson went on the last 3-2, but stays put on this one as Bohr sends it out to right field. Thames will play it on a hop, and to second goes B.A. 2 on, 1 out here in the third.
Bring your pup out to Marlins Park for Bark at the Park, presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/bark. A portion of the proceeds benefit the Humane Society of Broward County.
There's going to be some excited pups. Now, if those dogs are as...
Make sure you bring as many doggy bags as dogs.
Actually, 2 per dog. That would be the proper etiquette, 2 per dog.
Okay.
Just in case. I know from taking my Homer on walks that usually 2 bags suffices.
There you go.
Yeah. Get very excited to get outside sometimes. These other dogs in the park, they're going to go nuts. Martin Prado, first and second, 1 out. Nice day yesterday for Martin. Was 4 for 6, 2 runs scored. Had a double and an RBI, 5 RBIs in the series, and his first home run this year, a 3-run shot down the left field line on Thursday night. As Nottingham smothers that one, no advance for the runners.
Well, I'll tell you, there seems to be a particular theme going on even into tonight's ball game. Marlins 5 hits already. Told you how good Anderson has been. Marlins don't care. Only 6.46 hits per 9 inning. 204 batting average against. Anderson, one of the best in the game. Controlling the traffic for the most part. Marlins have had a bunch of it already.
Yesterday his 14th career 4-hit game. And if you go back to just before the injury, that's what was, part of what was so unfortunate about that injury was the day before, or the day that he did get injured, 3 hits. So the day prior to the injury, 8 for 17, a home run, 5 RBIs. So fortunately, it doesn't seem like it's taken Martin that long to get back to the production that he had prior to the hamstring strain. Gets out of the way of that one. Thankfully, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Prado, he loves routine and consistency. He doesn't like high pitches near his head. And that's what Prado has really been kind of preaching over this hot stretch. You mentioned it, kind of heating up before the DL trip, getting into that rhythm again. Daily routine, knowing exactly what he wants to do in preparation for a game.
They've worked Anderson's pitch count up over 50 with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Next pitch will be number 20 here in the 3rd. Toward the Marlins dugout. Everybody gets out of the way, thankfully.
It has been part of their approach all season long. Miami Marlins 5th in Major League Baseball in pitches seen. So you talk about it, 52 pitches against Anderson. This Marlins group has done it against some of the game's best.
Line to Shaw, who will tag out Anderson. There we go. To end the inning. We are through 3 with Milwaukee in front, 1-0. are watching this game on AFN, the American Forces Network. Welcome to those in countries around the world aboard naval ships at seas, and thank you for your service. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Craig Minervini back with you. The Brewers with a 1-0 lead as we head to the top of the 4th inning. 4, 5, and 6 due up for Milwaukee against Jose Urena, Jesus Aguilar, Travis Shaw, and Brad Miller. That one line foul down the left field line. Aguilar lined out to left field in his first at-bat. That ended the 1st inning. Solid contact on his first swing against Urena here in the 4th. Two balls and a strike to Aguilar, who is doing his best, or I don't know if he's doing his best, but his teammates certainly doing their best as he is part of that final vote to get to the All-Star game. 22 homers, 63 RBIs, and a .305 average after the lineout inside 3-1. But those numbers, along with his slugging percentage, is first in the National League. The OPS first in the National League. The home runs tied for first in the National League, and the RBIs tied for 3rd. And a drive to left field and gone. Number 23 for Aguilar.
I'll tell you what, Aguilar has had some swings to the inside of the plate. I'll tell you, that inside channel, that inside corner, that inside 3rd, my goodness. National League leading 23rd home run. That two-seam fastball, even in off that inside corner at 97 miles an hour, barreled up. Wow. Is he locked in or what?
That is his 12th home run in the last 20 and a half games. That's what he's been doing too. He'll have the home run and then he kind of saunters over to the cameras at the edge of the dugout, makes some kind of a face.
Well, he's in pursuit of an all-star spot as well,
Yeah,
so
he
he's lobbying for that, I would imagine.
More to Urena, and Shaw is retired. Second time tonight that Shaw has grounded out to first base. So it's Aguilar along with Brandon Belt of the Giants, Matt Carpenter of the Cardinals, Max Muncy with the Dodgers, and Trey Turner with the Washington Nationals. Go online, MLB.com. Voting ends July 11th at 4 o'clock, and the All-Star Game is a week from tomorrow on Fox. Now, this is what I was talking about before. So we believe in Jesus. This is when his teammates are doing the best they can, as Jesus Aguilar was on MLB Network today on Intentional Talk.
Well, that's fantastic. That's what you want to see. Those are great teammates right there. Pulling some strings for him. Not that he needs any, because if you ask me my opinion, he doesn't belong in the final 5. He should be on the All-Star team already. I mean, are you kidding me? There's a chance that somebody with potentially has 70 RBIs going into the All-Star break on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's not outside the realm of possibility. He's only 6 away.
Right.
That he wouldn't be on the All-Star team, that would just be absolutely ridiculous.
I totally agree with you. And then you talked with in the pregame show with Jeff Nelson. You think that maybe expanding the rosters now that the game itself, the All-Star game, doesn't determine home field advantage in the World Series anymore.
And there's a lot of reasons why I say that. Of course, this is probably not the forum to get into this. It's more of a roundtable conversation. But the game doesn't serve a purpose anymore. As far as it has any meaning. And if it doesn't have any meaning, even if you have players who don't play, they should still be invited to the All-Star game, especially those who have numbers who are worthy. Honestly, I was making that point with Bearclaw. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you can compare him to some current All-Stars, and some of those All-Stars make the team because their team has to be represented. But it also shorts the roster a spot, understandably. I mean, I'm for both. I think all teams should be represented. That's my own opinion, but I think there should be more roster spots. Could you imagine? Well, Jesus is not at the All-Star game. I just that would be just shocking to me.
It would
currently leading the National League in home runs.
That's kind of the issue.
Yeah,
because the fans get their vote, and I think that they did a terrific job. As Hernan Perez takes outside, ball and strike, and it's gotten better over the last couple of years with the fan vote for the starters. But apparently the players voted 3 weeks ago, and a lot's changed in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it certainly
That's part
has.
of how JT Realmuto had to get voted in basically on the third level. It goes fans, players, managers, and coaches in that order. So the times of, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when the Royals, as Perez lines a base hit to left center field, when the Royals, after the World Series win, they had 8 starters. This year, the American League, 8 different teams represented among the starters. And here are your National League starters with Nick Markakis going for the first time. So here's the thing, and I'm with you for Aguilar. Are you taking Freeman off the list?
No, no. It's just my argument for more spots. That's just it.
Right.
Like I said, I really believe in my heart that there are a lot of guys that should be representing the American League, the National League at the All-Star game, whether they get into the game or not. There's no promise of playing time. My point is merely being an All-Star. You earn the opportunity to be there. The season, the half a season that you have had says that you should be an All-Star. It's an exhibition game. An exhibition game. Who cares if there's 50 people there?
Perez goes, throw to second is in time. Holiday with the throw on the second base side of the bag. Craig Counsell says hold up 1 second. But Perez out by 2 feet. 2-0. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide by Cleveland Clinic. Come out and join us for our community grand opening event on July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, visit clevelandclinic.org/Coral Springs and by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Back here in Miami, a beautiful night in South Florida with the roof open for the 19th time this year. And we saw Brian Holiday throw a strike. Starlin Castro with the tag for the final out of the inning.
Absolutely awesome. You know what? Listen, great throw by Holiday. I love the tag by Castro because he creates momentum into the tag. This is an advanced concept. We've seen some middle infielders do this. And Paul, we're going to have you slide into right here, up here in the studio. We're going to have you slide, and I'm going to apply a slap tag to your forehead.
Ready?
No, I'm just kidding. But what you want to do at home, it's really fun. You can do this with your pals, and you saw Starlin Castro do it right there. We see Javi Baez do it around the game. A lot of these guys are doing a fantastic job of tagging those runners at second base, and the idea is the anticipation of where that ball is coming and creating momentum, not just catching and then tagging. Here's the idea that you start to do a little bit more of this as that ball gets a little bit closer. And you saw Starlin Castro do it. You save yourself. I know we're talking about, fractions of a second, but we see enough of these plays that get turned on that fraction of a second, and that's what you're fighting for at the major league level. So great job by Starlin Castro. And again, kids at home, you can practice this anytime with your buddy. Play a little bit of catch and just practice it. I'm a lefty. I wasn't on the infield too much, but we used to do them. We called them snap tags, and you kind of catch and tag at the same time. You can practice that and get better at it.
It's a little bit like framing a pitch.
Kind of, right?
Where
like
you're
a catcher
moving the
would.
glove
Absolutely.
and catching at the same time.
It's the same idea, and I know Javi Baez made it popular a couple of years ago as you started to see him make some incredible catches, but that's exactly what he's doing. He's starting to anticipate that ball coming in and taking that glove into the tag even before the ball's in his glove.
Well, another caught stealing, thanks in part to Starlin Castro. Another caught stealing for Brian Holiday, as JT Riddle takes a called strike. Now 3 balls and a strike to Riddle. After him, Garrett Cooper and Cameron Maben. And one more look. StatCast powered by AWS shows you a pop time just a little under 2 seconds for Brian Holiday, who now has 11 caught stealings this year. And ball 4 to Riddle. A leadoff walk issued by Anderson. That is his second walk in this game. We'll get you set for tomorrow night's ball game. South Florida Honda dealers have Marlins live pregame show. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson on an email. Twitter Tuesday, Jolie Chassin and Pablo Lopez. But here it is Chase Anderson against Jose Urania in a 2-0 Brewers lead. 1 on and nobody out as they check on Riddle over at first for Garrett Cooper. Cooper grounded into a double play back in the second inning.
Well, Paul, I don't like to make a big deal out of this sometimes, but when you've got the leadoff guy on in 10 of 13 innings going back to yesterday's ball game. Now, I know yesterday turned out right, but we're starting to develop a similar theme tonight. You got to find a way to get those guys across. 3 of the 4 innings tonight, leadoff man on for the Marlins.
2 of the 3 innings have had double plays to back Chase Anderson. Here's the 1-0 to Cooper, and to Aguilar, goes to second, and they are going to say that Riddle is out and that Perez lost the ball on the transfer. So second base umpire Adrian Johnson said they get the lead runner, but take another look here. So he's got it.
No. He never touched the base with the ball in his hands. That's not right.
You're right. You're right.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He did drop the ball and he did catch the ball, but he wasn't touching the bag. That ball's out before he ever gets to second base.
The Marlins are going to take a look at it. Has it, doesn't have it, and there's the foot. So I can't imagine that this will this will not get overturned. So again, I said on the transfer. So the umpire, in the umpire's discretion, did the player, Hernan Perez in this case, have the ball, and as he's going to take it out of his glove to throw to first base, is that where he lost the ball? But I don't think, A, that's where he lost the ball, and B, he didn't have the ball when his foot touched the base.
All I'm saying, listen, you can transfer me to death. He didn't have the ball in his glove, and he wasn't on second base. There you go. That's right. Finally. I feel vindicated. I wandered down that path way too many times and got in so much trouble. Well, right? I mean, you still have to have, listen, I certainly understand transfer rule and everything else that we start to talk about with the new rules and that, being at second base. But let's be honest here. This is pretty simple. Ball, glove, foot on bag. That never happened.
So the call gets overturned, and the Marlins have 2 on and nobody out here in the 4th inning. And in steps Cameron Maben, who has 6 RBIs in his last 41 plate appearances, including a home run. And he takes ball 1. Maben had a single and a stolen base back in the 2nd.
53rd error on the season for the Brewers. Right there in the middle of the pack.
Up the middle, and Perez keeps it on the infield, and the bases will be loaded for Brian Holiday. So 2 hits tonight for Maben.
Yeah, right past Anderson. Both his base hits tonight. Boy, oh boy, don't blame Anderson for being on the defensive right after the first at bat for Maben. Went off his foot. Anderson got out of there, and that ball almost got through. And once again, another opportunity. Marlins have left 4 runners on base tonight. 6 hits.
Well, the 10th multi-hit game of the year for Maben has them loaded with nobody out for Brian Holiday, who swings at the first pitch and fouls this one down the left field line. Yelich will have room, and here comes the runner from third. It's going to be a sacrifice fly for Brian Holiday as Riddle scores to make it 2-1. So the leadoff walk comes around to score. Runners still at first and second, 1 out. And Jose Urania steps in. Well, Holly, you talked about it, the old baseball adage, get them on, then you got to get them over and get them in.
You cannot continue to miss opportunities against this Brewers ball club. They have a fantastic bullpen.
Bunted to third, and no catch, and a foul ball. Shaw slid for that one right on the line. Let's see here.
Oh my. Yikes. That's a fair ball.
But it's not challengeable because fair and foul on the infield.
On the inside, yeah, from the bags towards home,
yeah.
Right?
Can't challenge that.
That's unbelievable. That hit square in the middle of the third baseline. That's not even debatable.
Aguilar creeping in from first. This one popped up again, and now Nottingham gives it a look, but it is now 0-2.
Yeah.
See, once it hits the ground, where does he touch it? Is he on the foul? Meh. One of those things where it's going to be inconclusive in a non-challengeable call anyway. But Urania still a chance here. The Brewers still expecting the bunt with Aguilar creeping in from first. Urania will take a look at the breaking ball for out number 2. Well, catch the FIFA World Cup semifinals tomorrow on Fox. Pogba and Mbappe lead France against Eden Hazard and Belgium at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
Mbappe?
Mbappe, and Pogba.
Who's representing Belgium again?
Hazard.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, you know.
It's the reason they give you that read every day. You know that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, you still have a team, don't you? You still have England, right?
I do. I still have England.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, well. Harry Kane with England is who we're kind of pulling for.
There you go.
He's their leading goal scorer.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to be on top of these things.
Yeah, right on top.
Watch party at your house. The 1-0 to Castro, misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, right man, right spot. Could be a hotter bat in the Marlins lineup for an opportunity here with 2 outs. Get this game tied.
There's a strike, 2-1. It's a good pitch from Anderson right at the bottom of the zone on 2-0. 2 times through the order, the Marlins have 6 hits. And 22 of them yesterday. In the series against the Nationals, the Marlins scored 28 runs and hit .347. Two and two.
Well, Anderson, after giving up the leadoff double to Castro in the first, climbed the ladder on him in the third. Elevated fastball. He'll do that. A 4-seamer at the top of the zone. He's picked up a number of strikeouts this season. Either likes to climb with the 4-seamer or go away with his cutter.
Sharply hit to short. Perez goes to Miller. Marlins get 1 back through 4. It's 2-1. Miami the last couple of years because of Hurricane Irma last year.
Some definite trying times for South Florida. Irma came roaring through, and the Marlins had to find a new home. And I'll tell you what, fine people of Wisconsin, of Milwaukee, took care of all of us for an extended stay in a series at Miller Park. And I'll tell you, the Marlins were the home team. Couldn't have been more gracious to our families. Of course, we were traveling with our families at the time. They hosted our families. They fed our families. They entertained our families the entire time we were in Milwaukee, and just incredible hosts. We expressed it, I certainly did at the time, our gratitude towards the Brewers organization for taking such good care of everybody that was traveling with our party. And that number grew, obviously, family members and all, with the team.
Yeah, I mean, when we touch down in a city, it's what, roughly 50 people in the traveling party? It had to be 200 at least.
At least. Everybody, I had off my four, my beautiful wife. I mean, we were all scared to death because of this hurricane.
Little looper into left field, and that will fall. A leadoff base hit for Jacob Nottingham. And for Jacob Nottingham, his first big league hit. Look at Tyler Saladino playing that one off the screen.
Thank goodness for the new netting, right?
Yeah.
Now this changeup stays up just a little bit. Nottingham, big swing. Got jammed just a little bit. Able to drop it into left field, and there you go. It's his first big league hit off the track and nearly into the stands.
Chase Anderson pops this one up and over the screen. So a congratulations to Nottingham. Recalled yesterday from AAA Colorado Springs. Second stint with the Brewers and his first big league hit.
Yeah, line drive in the box score. Exit velocity of 63. It's all right, though. You got your first one. Go from there.
That's one more than I've got. Anderson squares again, gets it down. Urania has it, throws to second, and they will get the lead runner. Just had enough mustard on it to get to Urania so he could make a play on it to second. And there's one on and one out. Geico presents this day in Marlins history. They beat the Diamondbacks 14-7, a 10-run, 8-hit 8th inning to erase a 7-run deficit. So, you know, on the other side of some history the other night, but the Marlins have been on the winning side of a big comeback before on this date in 2009. One out, back to the top of the order for Eric Thames, who takes ball one.
Thames had a 9-iron triple down into the right field corner his last time up. Scored the first run for the Brewers. When I say 9-iron, I meant because it was like a short, soft fly ball that just landed inside that right field line. Only 80 miles, exit velocity of 80.
Yeah. And then it's a triple, so Lorenzo Cain with the tap in to bring home the first run.
All right. Well, Brian Anderson's kind of playing where he was last time when that triple was hit. You can see him kind of playing in front of the Mikosuki sign.
Thames has missed some time this year. 10-day disabled list, a torn UCL in his thumb, but missed 41 games. When he went on the disabled list, he led the team in home runs with 7 at the time. He now has 13. But it is Jesus Aguilar leading the team and the National League with his 23rd home run earlier tonight. Down the left field line and into the seats. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Six hits for each side. One of them a home run from the Brewers. As you see the infield base on ball, balls in play rather, distribution on the line drive right back to Urania, and they will double up Chase Anderson. And Urania wincing as he goes off the mound. One more look. Ball caught him. Double play. Jose Urania, part of a double play to end the top of the inning on a hard hit ball, and he went downstairs right into the tunnel afterwards. This was the ball off the bat at some 105 miles an hour. You could see him wincing immediately.
Right.
He flipped to first base, inning over, and then right into the tunnel in a fair amount of pain.
Well, for somebody who does not show a whole lot of emotion or a whole lot of facial expression throughout just about anything.
All right, well, he's back and he's smiling, so that's good.
That's the most I've seen him show, but again, not surprised that he's back.
Yeah.
104 miles an hour off the bat. My goodness.
There's Brian Anderson to lead things off. A slow breaking ball from Chase Anderson. And it's 1-0. Brian had a base hit in the third inning. Chase with 3 strikeouts through the first 4 innings of work. His next pitch will be number 75. They say he did go around. 2 balls and a strike to BA, who started the day 7th in the National League in hits and 25th in the NL in average. Skied out to right center field. Kane, drifting back toward the track, will have room for the first out here in the 5th. Well, for Chase Anderson, 1 out here in the 5th inning. 1 run or less in 4 of his last 5 games started. And in that span, he's 2-1 with a 2.73 ERA. His last 5 games is as the Milwaukee Brewers continue to kind of work their way back to full health. They hope to get Wade Miley at some point, perhaps Thursday, when the Brewers take on the Pirates in the last series before the All-Star break. There is a sliver of hope that by September they'll get Jimmy Nelson back. and that strained right rotator cuff, partial tear in the labrum. Surgery to repair that in the offseason, maybe September for him. Brent Suter placed on the 10-day disabled list a couple of days ago. Forearm tightness for him, so that's kind of just the starting rotation. So all in all, for a first place team, they are not without their issues, as many teams are, but the importance for Anderson to continue pitching well. A ball and 2 strikes now to Justin Bohr. A ground out and a base hit for him tonight. Speaking of rosters and roster moves for the Marlins, again, just to recap, JT Realmuto placed on the paternity list. Drew Rosinski, who got a huge out yesterday, placed on the 10-day DL with a right groin strain. They moved Caleb Smith to the 60-day disabled list, though we already knew it was going to be a season-ending injury. Chad Wallach recalled from AAA while JT's on the paternity list, and Javi Guerra is up. And there is Javi Guerra. How's this for an ERA down at AAA? 0.
That ERA works anywhere, right?
12 appearances with the Baby Cakes, 3-0, no ERA, 1 unearned run. So Guerra in the bullpen as Rosinski goes to the disabled list. 2-2 from Anderson to Bohr. Here comes pitch number 85. Comes in at 83, back to the screen. Still 3-2.
JB doing a nice job. He's throwing the curveball, the change, the cutter. He's shown him just about everything. This at bat, JB's been a thorn in his side so far.
Again, a 3-2 pitch on the way. This one is laced down the right field line. Foul. Just a hair out in front.
Well, if you were watching Nottingham sliding in, he wanted a cutter inside. Anderson decided and agreed that's where to go. This two-seamer, excuse me, not a cutter, two-seamer. He was trying to run it inside, farther in off the plate and back to that inside corner. Well, he was ready for it.
The next pitch will be the 12th of this at-bat. Nottingham and Anderson haven't yet had the solution for Bohr. Fights off another one.
Fastball, 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 curveball, curveball, changeup, cutter, changeup, changeup, fastball, curveball. He showed it. That's the whole arsenal, man. That's it. That's it. Unless he starts messing around with a knuckleball out there, there's nothing left.
Another 3-2 pitch, and they got him to chase a little inside off the edge, and that's the 4th strikeout tonight for Anderson. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. We go down to Jupiter. Dustin Beggs, a 16th round pick of the Marlins in 2016. He's made 6 starts in the 16 games that he's pitched, a .218 ERA, and 66 strikeouts compared to just 8 walks. Jupiter 46 and 39. Of course, Martin Prado did a lot of his rehab at Jupiter. He takes a look at strike one. And this one, a base. No, just to the foul side of the right field line. I thought it was in. There's been enough action down that right field line. Yeah. Missed it by that much. Well, with the way that Martin's been swinging the bat, getting hits like crazy, a little out in front of that. And now an 0-2 pitch. All right, I was ahead of it by a pitch. Base hit for Martin Prado. No surprise, he goes the other way. Anderson's tried a number of times to go up in the zone. I'll tell you, this Marlins lineup has defended the elevated fastball pretty well tonight. An 0-2 mistake, probably caught too much of the strike zone, or you could say not high enough. Nice job by Prado, lining it to right. Now another one of the Marlins' more hot hitters, JT Riddle, takes a strike on the outside corner. 0-1. Nothing in 2 to Riddle. And no swing. A ball and 2 strikes. We've learned from Anderson tonight. Likes to really challenge, especially with 2 strikes, the left-handed hitter's discipline on that cutter and curveball to the inside part of the plate. Few hitters are hotter than Riddle. A base hit to right field. 2 on and 2 out here in the 5th. Well, a perfect night so far for JT. His changeup caught the middle of the plate. He didn't get it away. This circle changed. Watch Nottingham's glove. He's reaching back towards the middle of the plate. Well, that's what good hitters do. Good hitters hit the mistakes. Well done. That ball down in the zone. You can even hear it. Anderson unhappy with pitch location. And that might be his last pitch of the night. Craig Counsell out to the mound. I don't believe he's motioned yet. Now he has, and that's going to do it for Chase Anderson. So a guy with 8 quality starts cannot get through the 5th. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Jeremy Jeffress coming in. new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. As the Brewers make the call to the pen after 4 2/3 from Chase Anderson. Jeremy Jeffress is in his 43rd game. Last pitched on Friday against Atlanta. He will try to get out of Anderson's mess. But Garrett Cooper digs in, trying to even up the score.
A 105 ERA for Jeffress. My goodness, he has been outstanding this year for the Brewers. Certainly understand why he would be called into this situation. He's inherited 31 runners. 8 have scored, though.
Scooped up behind the plate by Nottingham. A ball and no strikes. Chopped up the middle. Ranging is Brad Miller. Throws off balance. And a strike to Aguilar. A heck of a play by Miller. Still 2-1.
Yelich was drafted, of course, by the Marlins in 2010, and he told me before the game he's excited to be back.
Of course, I mean, you're just always excited to come back and, see you guys. And, just it's where it all started for me, really. You get all those memories back to your first game playing here as a rookie, and all the emotions and special games that we actually did get a chance to play here. Obviously, there were some ups and downs, but it's exciting. It's exciting to come back and see everybody, and it's definitely going to be weird being in the first base dugout, I think, for a little while, but I was definitely excited to come back for sure.
Guys, Christian, very humble, really touched, I think, by coming back here to Marlins Park for this game. Remember, he was drafted in the first round back in 2010, had 3.5 years in the minors, and then all of his big league career up until this year, from 2013 on, in this Miami Marlin uniform right here at this ballpark. So it meant a lot to him to see him back here, and he got nice applause too when he came up earlier in the game.
Yeah, he absolutely did, and the Marlins did a terrific job. A little video tribute in between innings earlier in the game. As Jose Ureña's 1-1 is in to Lorenzo Cain, and it's good to see Ureña back out to work here in the 6th. As he walked off the mound in the 5th inning after catching a line drive off the bat of Eric Thames, wincing in pain, but good to go here for the 6th inning. And there is a called strike on Cain, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cain an RBI single in the 3rd, also grounded out back in the 1st inning. the 100th career game for Jose Urena. And he gives up a base hit to Locane up the middle, a leadoff knock here in the 6th.
Urena really looking for contact to the inside part of the plate. That inner third, Kane really working middle away. And he created backspin on that. Lorenzo Kane loves to hit off that back leg. He stayed inside that, even had some left to right.
So here is Yelich. With 1 on and nobody out. And he takes strike 1 on the outside corner. A single in the 1st inning. And grounded out to shortstop to end the 3rd. You brought it up before, Holly, about how, for the most part, the numbers are not all that different with Yelich this year and last year. He's still a terrific player. As he gets out of the way, they throw down to first, but back is Kane. And I just wonder if part of that is because, listen, there's no use in avoiding. The Marlins made a lot of headlines this year, and Yelich was part of those headlines, and you just wonder if that maybe helped folks kind of discover what Yelich was already, that those who watched the Marlins every night last year in the last few years kind of knew that this guy would be a batting title type guy, good hitter, great fielder, speed, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to give a reason. I think what ends up happening, and of course the Brewers have had a fantastic first half. They're playing great baseball. They're coming off a great homestand. They're leading the Cubs in the Central right now. They're leading a tough division. So the story has accelerated. High fastball there by Yelich. Fouls it off to the left side. So as the story grows, I think Brewers fans say to themselves, okay, what was different from last year that's now made us all of a sudden so much better? Now that we can go mano-a-mano with the Cubs, we're a game and a half ahead of them, we're playing great at home. Oh, well, how about those trades that we made for Kane and for Yelich? It helps the story. So you take his story here, which was a great story, you take it to Milwaukee, and it's still the same story, and still the same Christian Yelich, but now he gets credit for, again, the advancement of the organization, or the idea that the team looks stronger, is playing better, and yeah, this just might be their year. I hear a lot of people on the national level picking the Brewers. They love the way this team's put together.
Right.
In some ways, players like Christian Yelich, they get a few extra bonus points for the team they get traded to. We could have said that this Brewers team would have been really good maybe without them, but you get credit for, being the answer to the the question, why are they better?
And when healthy, and that's kind of been the thing. Yelich has missed a little time, and Kane's missed a little time. Braun's on the DL now. Thames has missed him. So they haven't really had everybody going all at one time, but you can see that, part of the reason why Arcia and Santana are in the minor leagues is because it's been so tough to get at-bats here at the big league level for these guys. Consistent at-bats. Yelich strikes out, 4th of the night. And there is one away for Jesus Aguilar as it's time for our Toyota Inside Look. So Brewers all-time with a 300 average, 20 home runs before the All-Star break. It's a nice list. Ben Oglivie, Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, and now Jesus Aguilar with his 23rd home run earlier tonight. Javi Guerra up for the Marlins. Urena is at 90 pitches, 1 out here in the 6th inning. I mean, when a guy is swinging the bat as hot as Aguilar is, you know, we just saw Mark Reynolds. I mean, you throw the rosin bag up there and he was swinging and making decent contact. I mean, you got to see that in the scouting reports, or the video, or the headlines, or however you're preparing for a game to know, I got my hands full tonight with this guy.
Don't become predictable. When you have hot hitters, that's just it. Speaking, you know, from the hitter's perspective, it's that predictable nature that pitchers at times will fall into, depending on their arsenal. But when you have somebody who's hot, what have we seen from him tonight? He has handled the inner third at 98 miles an hour, as well as anybody we've seen turn on Urania on a fastball.
Runner goes. Great jump for Kane, and he is in there safely.
Yeah, and here you go. We give you one more look at the Toyota inside look, right? So look at this company here. Ben Ogilvy, Prince Fielder, Braun, obviously Aguilar. And the numbers, yeah, they're all all-stars. Aguilar's trying to get there.
That's a good point. He's part of that final vote in the National League. And in a hitter's count here, 3-1, doesn't bite, and it's 3-2.
And you see where Urania has stayed for the 2 strikes in this sequence away. It's a good idea. So find out how far he can hit a ball. Turned around 97 already tonight.
Time called. Other than the home run in the 4th inning, also lined out to Cooper in left. Cooper is just about in South Beach right now, playing so deep in left field. And it's 1st and 2nd now for Travis Shaw. Well, that's just the first walk of the night for Jose Urania.
You know, Waniev is trying to get him through this 6th inning. First time through the lineup on the season. Hitters hitting .218 against Urania. Second time through .245. Third time through .359. So that number does spike. It's definitely his 3rd time through. A couple of hits this inning. Remember, Thames lined one back at him at 104 miles an hour. So he's hoping to get a ground ball. We've told you how good he has been at that this season.
So a force at any base for Travis Shaw as Garrett continues to loosen in the Marlins pen. Inside corner, strike 1. Shaw tonight, a couple of ground balls to the right side. And here's the 0-1. Tries to go inside again, but misses a ball and a strike. Shaw sends one out to right center field. Anderson is going to give way for Maben, who throws into the middle of the diamond. Over to third goes Kane, and there are 2 away. And Don Mattingly out to talk with the home plate umpire Brian Gorman. Derek Dietrich is heading out to left field, so it's going to be a double switch for the Marlins. Javi Guerra in and Urania out. 2-1 Brewers. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. And Garrett Cooper out, as is Jose Urena. In is Javi Guerra. Spent most of last season at AAA New Orleans. A couple of stints with the Marlins, 1-1 with an even 3 ERA. But how about a 0 ERA in 12 games at New Orleans this year? 5 of 6 in save opportunities. This certainly not one in terms of a save, but an opportunity to keep this game where it's at. 2-1 the score as Brad Miller taps the first one foul, 0-1.
Javi, four-seam fastball, sits in that 92-93 range. Also has a cutter. Throw a slower slider. That cutter usually sits around 89. That was the first pitch he threw. And a curveball.
Brad Miller with the chopper to the right side. Castro has it. And Guerra gets a big out to end the top of the 6th and keep it a 2-1 deficit. Fantasy auction powered by South Florida Ford. Mark your calendar for July 26th for an opportunity to bid on autographed memorabilia and unique experiences. For more information, visit marlins.com/fantasy. Told you earlier about the auction bundles that are on sale right now. Hats and signed balls, passes to the party beforehand. Lots of great stuff. So log on, check it out. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, Jeremy Jeffress, who got the last out of the 5th, back out for the 6th. Cameron Maben, Brian Holiday, and Derek Dietrich. As Maben takes a called strike. So Urena's day is done. Generally speaking, pretty good. 5 2/3, scattering the 7 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. And against a big-time Brewers lineup, kept him rather quiet as Jeffress will field, barehanded by Aguilar at first base. And with the speedy Maben, the only way to get the out was to grab it with the bare hand.
I'll tell you what. I mean, he is trying to state his case for the All-Star game here at Marlins Park tonight. Obviously the long home run. This is an unbelievable play. We had this all up. Listen, Jeffress didn't just underhand him a ball. He overhand tossed it to him. There's a little mustard on that. Barehanded it, made a nice play. My goodness.
Brian Holiday thought about bunting, but pulls it back, takes ball 1.
Enough already. You got my vote.
Holiday walked in the second, had a sac fly in the fourth, accounting for the only Marlins run. He went around, ball and a strike. Yeah, he's doing just about everything over there, playing himself into an everyday role at first base. Early part of the season, they had been platooning Aguilar and Thames over at first. And now Thames playing a lot of right field. Can't take this guy's bat out of the lineup.
Yeah, well, Thames' playing time is going to be in right field probably for the remainder of the season, other than, you know, maybe Aguilar getting a day off. I mean, that's it. You know, it's the definition of playing himself into the everyday lineup. He's no longer a platoon player. I think it's fair to say, in fact, he's been the most productive Brewers offensive player in the first half.
2-2 to Holiday, and he takes a called strike 3.
Jeffress, good arm, four-seam fastball, sinker, curve, and split occasionally. Doesn't throw too often. He really likes to attack with that fastball, and you saw the sinker almost exclusively to Holiday. 95, 96 miles an hour.
Here's Dietrich, 11 homers, 31 RBIs. And they see he went around 0-1. Yesterday, 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored, walked twice, was hit by a pitch twice, reached base 5 times. It was 4 for 12 in the series. 1-1. So not only does he get hit by a lot of pitches, in fact the most in team history, Derek Dietrich, but the most multiple hit by pitch games. Yesterday, his 9th. Two-one from Jeffress is sent out to left field. Yelich back toward the track will have room to end the 6th. Well, the Brewers are in first place for now. How long will that be the case? We'll ask Holly to handicap the NL Central when we come back. In town for a 3-game series. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth. This National League Central, the last few years, has been very entertaining. This year figures to be just the same. How do you see it all shaking out?
Well, It's going to be complicated, and listen, it may be a tougher question to answer right now. I spent a lot of my life in the Midwest, certainly dealing with the National League Central as both a former Cub and obviously covering the Cubs over the years. You see the standings now. I think the Brewers and the Cubs are going to go at it the rest of the way, and in so much of what will decide this division may very well come down to the two guys who are on the disabled list right now. Nelson for the Brew Crew.
Okay.
Darvish for the Cubs. You don't know what you've got with either right now, and I think both are kind of making their way back. But I mean, how do you put a value on that? I think, talking Jimmy Nelson, talking you Darvish, you're talking about an elite pitcher who could potentially affect your starting staff late, and again would be healthy. So, it's a tough one to peg. I'll say this. I mean, if you follow it, the way that I've followed it, obviously throughout my, last 10 years of my life, you know that the Cubs have had the upper hand, hands down, over, year in and year out. I mean, they call Miller Park Wrigley North,
right?
Because Cubs fans will flock up there and they'll buy up half the tickets, for crying out loud. So, it's a very interesting dynamic, but I'll say this, it is turning into one of the better rivalries around baseball, and the longer this Brewers team kind of hangs out in that, with the Cubs, people love it. I mean, people in the Midwest go bonkers for that series.
Well, here's a tough one too, and I know that this is somewhat unfair because we are still kind of leading up to the trade deadline, but you think that either one of these two teams that we're talking about, the Cubs or the Brewers, make a big splash? I mean, they're in it. They'll probably make a move here or there. Someone always seems to add to the bullpen, but I'm talking big splash, and I guess I'm talking like a Manny Machado type for the Brewers.
I would be more inclined to believe that the Brewers might be out in front of that conversation. They may be the ones that make the big splash. I think both organizations are capable of doing that. Both have depth and enough prospects to get whatever they may need if you want to create that conversation around baseball. That's the point. Yeah. I mean, you look at what the Cubs can ultimately do. They've got prospects in their system. They certainly have talent at the major league level that they could trade. They have depth, as do the Brewers. They have as much depth as anybody as well. So the question is, who moves? Or do both teams move? Or do they push each other over the top? Do maybe they both teams acquire a marquee type player? It should be a lot of fun to watch.
It absolutely will be. And again, some people think, and certainly it is the case, well, the Brewers are a small market team, and why would they go out and get a Manny Machado? Nobody's saying that they're going to sign Machado to a 10-year, $382 million deal or whatever, but they may make the move. They've done it in the past.
Both
CC
teams,
Sabathia, Zach Greinke, Ray Durham in the past.
Well, and guess what? The Cubs have done it as well. They went out and got Chapman. I mean, they'll do whatever they've got to do in order to win or to bolster their team as well. So, the question is, I think for both of these teams moving forward, how far do you take this? Both incredibly talented teams. Should be a lot of fun, as I said.
Nottingham lines a base hit into left field, and Dietrich will cut it off before it gets to the wall, but it will be a one-out double for Nottingham. So after his first major league hit, he now has his second major league hit.
Well, generally, it does get a little easier after you get the first one out of the way.
Big weight off your shoulders for sure. Javi Guerra getting his first strikeout a moment ago of Hernan Perez for the first out of this inning. His first big league strikeout here in 2018. And now Nate Orf will pinch hit in the pitcher spot. 5 games this year for Orf. Recalled yesterday. Took the roster spot of Ryan Braun. His first career hit Wednesday against Minnesota. A solo home run. And he got one of the cooler curtain calls. He got lifted up by his teammates on their shoulders, for goodness sakes.
He sure did. Certainly like to celebrate in Milwaukee.
And on the right field line into the second or third row. And there is All-Star Josh Hader. who has struck out only about half the batters he's faced this year.
Now, there's a reason the Brewers are 43-13 when they score first. Yeah, that's right. 30 games over 500 when they score first. They have the ability to shorten the game with that bullpen. My goodness.
Orf down on strikes for the second out of the inning. Let's go downstairs to Craig Minervini.
Well, there is some All-Star news out of San Francisco. Will affect JT Realmuto. Buster Posey will not play in Tuesday's All-Star game next week. He has a right hip issue. He's had soreness in it, and they're going to give him an injection after the game Sunday against Oakland, trying to calm down that inflammation in his hip. And so they'll get him through the break and then hope to get him back on the backside. So with Contreras already the other catcher and 3 catchers with Posey, now it's just 2 with Contreras and Realmuto. No word on who will replace Buster Posey yet. Could it be Aguilar? Will they go another catcher? We'll see.
Out to the mound goes Holiday. That's the thing, and I understand your point 1,000%, Holly, about how maybe you just expand the rosters, but between, you know, the Sunday that we find out the rosters and the Tuesday, whatever it is, 8 days, 9 days later when the game actually happens, so much changes. I understand the uproar, and rightfully so. You can easily make a case Aguilar belongs there, that Bearclaw belongs there, that Snell belongs there, that countless others belong there. This one, a diving stop by Bohr, flips to Guerra, who steps on the bag to end the inning. Boy, Justin Bohr has been playing a really slick first base the last few days as he takes away a hit from Thames. We go to the bottom of the 7th.
Will donate $1 to support veterans.
Overhead here at Marlins Park, roof open for a record 19th time this season. Just blown past the record the last couple of weeks. We've been fortunate to have some pretty good weather so we can look up at the stars. Keon Broxton takes over in right field. And on the mound, Josh Hader. First-time All-Star. Numbers that are off the charts. So 83 strikeouts in 44 2/3 innings. 83 strikeouts of the 163 batters faced. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he struck out the side 13 times this season. He got a strikeout in 27 of 29 appearances. The only 2 appearances he did not pick up a strikeout were in June, actually in back-to-back performances. June 26th and 7th at Kansas City. Now, in both of those instances, he only went a third of an inning and then followed up with 2/3 of an inning.
Oh-1 to Starlin Castro, and now 0-2. The Florida Lottery in-game jackpot, the NL's highest averages the last 10 days. Well, no real surprise to see Mark Reynolds at the top of that list. He had a run of 7 for 7 at one point, but Starlin Castro right there.
Did you see who was below him? Matt Adams. we saw every pitch in that series.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness. All right, listen, Hader's been hot this season. He's going to the All-Star game. He's been claw hot. Yeah, I said it. That's where I'm going with this.
Nice.
2 for 106. That is hitters with 2 strikes. As you see, Castro down 0-2. That a batting average is 0-19.
Well, he might be the most dominant lefty, if nothing else, out of the bullpen. If not most dominant lefty in the game.
There's a few guys that I think you could argue back and forth, historically speaking, recent history here. Point being, clearly in the National League. Anybody else more dominant on your mind? Am I missing anybody? I don't think so.
In 2018?
Yeah, no.
No.
And he is tough to pick up. You see his arm angle, throws across his body. Kind of gives you that idea of Chris Sale. What makes him even tougher is that he closes up. He's not a lift and release towards home. He actually tucks and rotates away from home plate before making his way towards home.
You see a little Madison Bumgarner in the delivery. It's kind of that 3/4 lefty kind of sling.
Well,
going on.
I do. I know where you're going with that. I would add this, and I don't. This isn't being disrespectful to Madison Bumgarner. He's a little bit more athletic. The lean in his approach allows him to rotate with his upper half around his waist, which hides the baseball better. Of course, he throws harder than Madison Bumgarner. Watch right there. That, to me, is what makes it very difficult for hitters to pick up the ball. He's got a full head of steam coming towards home. That arm is laying back in the grass, and there it is, just right over the top. So he hides the ball particularly well. And again, this isn't somebody just rushing 95 up there every pitch. He's got an arsenal. He's got a changeup. He's got a slider. He's got a fastball. He works the ball in. He works the ball away. He knows what he's doing. Look at the variations in pitch speed. 95 miles an hour on the high end, 79 on the low end. I mean, that's very difficult for a hitter to deal with.
Just missed inside, and the count runs full to Starlin Castro. And Castro with a line drive home run to left center field. Get it done. This game is tied.
Wow, my goodness, Starlin Castro, stay hot, my friend. Wow, that's impressive. 2 for 106 hitters against Hader this season. Starlin Castro says, go ahead, keep feeding me fastballs at the top of the zone. No doubter.
And he knew it. Boy, oh boy, you got to search high and low to find a hotter hitter in baseball as Anderson sends one to left center field. And that one is gone. Back-to-back home runs for the Marlins. And they have taken a 3-2 lead.
My goodness, we have a power surge at Marlins Park tonight. Back-to-back pitches. Paul, I don't know where to go with this, my friend. I'll tell you, sometimes you see things that just aren't explainable. I mean, you give people the numbers, you tell them what's supposed to happen, and the Marlins do something that just catch you by surprise. Yeah, nearly the same pitch, except at the front end of his at-bat. First pitch. Starlin Castro, 411 feet, 106 miles an hour off the bat. Anderson, 434, 108 by Anderson. Wow.
So they're celebrating Castro's home run and then crack. Wait, hang on. Uh-oh. A 2-for-1 deal for the Marlins. Well, Hader hadn't pitched since 3 innings of work on Wednesday. Gave up a home run to Castro on the 11th pitch of his at-bat, and then on the first pitch of Anderson's at-bat, he too takes Josh Hader deep, and the Marlins go from down 1 to up 1 on 2 swings. Here is Martin Prado. Well, there has been a lot of that with the Marlins fighting and scratching and clawing. You know, every time we see a new team, we go from city to city, or a new team comes in here, they always say, you know, what's the personality of this club? You know, and for me, you know, I throw the wins and losses out, and I always go to, this team's got a lot of resolve, right? I mean, they basically kept relatively quiet against Chase Anderson, and then you've got, I mean, we talked about it, arguably the most dominant lefty out of the bullpen in the National League, if not all of baseball, and then back-to-back home runs against the guy who's been nearly unhittable, and they take a 3-2 lead.
Well, right, and they, you know, it's not that they just got a couple of hits to start an inning against him and are mounting a rally. You had 2 bombs, you know, for a team that doesn't hit very many home runs.
And now Prado with a line drive base hit. The 3rd hit of the inning, and Prado's heading to second base. Overslid the bag, and he is out.
Now, great swing of the bat by Prado. Kane throws a dart to second and nabs him on the way by. He sure does. You see that slide take come right off. Tries to reach back with the left hand, but they're able to hold the bag.
So 2 outs. Here's JT Riddle. Swings at the first pitch. 0-1. Riddle with 2 hits tonight. Also walked and scored in the 4th. Right side, Aguilar on the backhand, flips to Hader, who steps on the bag, and that's going to do it for the 7th inning. Starlin Castro on the 11th pitch of the at-bat with the game-tying home run, and while they're celebrating that, Brian Anderson follows up with another 3-2. Home runs, back-to-back home runs from Starlin Castro and Brian Anderson. And it is now 3-2 as we go to the 8th inning. Miguel Rojas is in at first base, and Drew Steckenrider is on the mound. 44th game for him this season, as Steck 19 2/3 scoreless, longest streak in the majors.
Well, I'll tell you, the tone of this ball game has changed, and even the tone of like how you're using your bullpen. We talk about this all the time, holding the deficit. The Marlins had done a pretty good job of keeping themselves in this ball game as they were chasing a 2-run deficit early. Point is, they've got the lead now. You move on to Steckenrider. There you go, 19 2/3 scoreless innings.
One and two to Lorenzo Cain. Cain an RBI single in the 3rd, single and a stolen base in the 6th. As Corbin Burns is up for the Brewers.
Well, entering tonight.
Line drive over the head of Castro, and another knock for Cain, his 3rd of the game.
Entering tonight, Hader had never allowed 2 home runs in an outing. MLB.TV All-Star Sale is here. For $39.99, watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV to take advantage of this sale.
Cain with 3 of the Brewers' 9 hits tonight, as Christian Yelich takes a called strike. Yelich had the first of those hits tonight. A base hit back in the 1st inning. Also grounded out and struck out in the 6th. Swings over the top of that one. 0-2 to the first-time All-Star Christian Yelich. And Major League Baseball announcing a few minutes ago that we had Craig give us the news that Buster Posey will not be headed to the All-Star game. Yadier Molina will be added to the roster in Posey's place. Chop right side, Castro to Riddle, and Yelich beats it out. A fielder's choice, 1 out here in the 8th. Time for Lowe's whole team together. 119 home runs in the National League, 2nd in the NL. Jesus Aguilar with his 23rd earlier tonight. The Los Angeles Dodgers, who were in action in about 25 minutes or so against the San Diego Padres, tops in the NL. Aguilar lined out in the 1st, walked in the 6th, but his 23rd home run of the season in the 4th inning. He has been doing that quite a bit. 4 homers in his last 4 games, 12 homers in his last 21 games.
Well, if you were going to pick a lane, what lane would you pick going up against Aguilar right now? That one?
Yeah, away.
The one away, right, that
Absolutely.
outer third. My goodness, he has got some full power, and boy, oh boy, can he turn on velocity. We've already seen that tonight. I would really anticipate Steckenrider working outer third even farther away.
The 0-1, Yelich on the move. Handcuffed Holiday, and into second goes Yelich.
Now, pretty big jump by Christian Yelich. Head first slide into second. Obviously, you got to come up with the ball at home. That ball down in the dirt. So Holiday really no shot. 12th stolen base of the season for Yelich.
Ball and a strike to Aguilar. 0 for 2 in his career with a strikeout against Steckenrider. Mentioned 4 homers in 4 games. He had 2 homers yesterday. 5th multi-home run game of his career. In fact, in that 4-game series against the Braves, the Brewers kept the Braves from hitting a long ball. They have surrendered 2 tonight.
The Brewers, it's kind of what they do best. They hit for power and they steal bases. Just about every other offensive category, you'll find them mid to upper part of the National League. You know, batting average, on base percentage. They've lowered their strikeouts over the last 2 seasons. They've definitely gotten a little bit better at putting the ball in play. Part of that being Yelich and Kane now on board. It's actually what they were trying to eliminate this winter, was some more productive hitters in their lineup, not just power hitters.
Yeah, I mean, from where I sit, you have 1 or 2 of those guys that strike out a lot, it's okay. You start getting 5, 6 guys that strike out or hit home runs, and that's it. Not good. Check on Yelich at second, and he's back. I mean, that's what the Astros were a couple of years ago. They found some more contact and led them to a World Series title.
Well, they absolutely flipped the script. And I think for the Brewers, you know, part of being aggressive on the bases is just that. You know, a lot of times we talk, you know, power hitting teams who become incredibly stationary because they hit so many home runs. Not this Brewers team. Boy, oh boy, it is part of their MO. They run.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Tying run is at second. And the NL's home run leader, Jesus Aguilar, at the plate. He steps out and they'll reset. Called strike 3. 97 on the outer third. 2 away.
That's what we call getting it done, Paul. My goodness, dialing up that outside corner. Listen, contact at that spot. That ball's not leaving the yard. All he can look to do is defend. And that ball had some tremendous run back to just enough of that outside corner. Aguilar frustrated. Huge, huge out.
Now Travis Shaw. Line right field. Anderson on a hop. He comes up throwing from right field and not in time. Yelich scores and the game is tied. Up to second goes Shaw. And that will end the consecutive scoreless inning streak at 19 2/3 innings for Drew Steckenrider.
Now you see Holiday reaching. This is supposed to be a two-seam fastball away. It ends up in. Shaw hunting that fastball in. Strong throw by Anderson. But Yelich was off with the pitch, obviously, with 2 outs.
The Marlins intentionally walked Brad Miller. That'll set up a force at any base for Hernan Perez. Perez tonight, couple of strikeouts, singled and was caught stealing in the 4th inning. Well, 2 of the more dominant relievers going right now, giving up runs. Hader gave up back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the 7th, and Steckenrider saw his major league best, at least the longest active streak of consecutive scoreless innings, come to an end.
One of those nights. And we've seen a little bit of weird tonight. Well, Anderson getting knocked around. We come out telling you he doesn't give up hits. Marlins attack him with tons of hits.
Right.
Well, they did leave a few guys on base. You mentioned both relievers getting knocked around.
The flip to Castro to end the inning. But the Brewers tie the game. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Back and forth the last couple of innings. Back-to-back home runs, Castro and Anderson. And then a run scored for the Brewers to tie things up at 3. As Miguel Rojas will lead things off. Josh Hader in for his 2nd inning of work. Rojas lays down the bunt. A push bunt gets past Hader, and Rojas will reach to lead off the inning.
You know, it's like bags of tricks going on right here. Like, we've got the long ball against you. We can pull that out, right? Well, Miguel Rojas reading the infield, playing deep. Obviously, all he has to do is get it by Hader. He's got himself a single on a push bunt. Well done. So here's Cameron Maben
couple of hits. He takes ball 1.
Marlins 3 infield hits tonight, now 91 on the season. His 3rd in Major League Baseball.
Now, how aggressive do you think the Marlins get to play for 1 run here? I mean, we broke down the numbers on Hader, that he's just about untouchable. Somehow, you know, with all this, the legend surrounding him, they get back-to-back home runs, they take the lead, now we're tied. He's not necessarily a guy you bank on, we'll get him again the next inning.
No, you just try to put together good at-bats, like Maven, who's ahead 2-0. Now, I don't think you're going to see runners in motion. Remember, Hader's left-handed. He guides the ball well. But I do think there's the potential to see aggressiveness in the secondary lead. Rojas is really working on that right now, talking to Perry Hill over at first base. Watch his secondary lead. It's not his primary. There you go. Slides off. Ball 4.
So 1st and 2nd, and nobody out here in the 8th.
Now, this is the 18th time Hader has gone more than an inning.
And now the training staff out to check on Hader. Burns and Williams, a couple of righties, and a quick check on Hader, and looks like everything is all right. So here's Brian Holiday. Drove in one of the 3 Marlins runs, a sac fly in the 4th inning. Brewers already expecting a bunt. Aguilar is in on the grass at first base, and Shaw in over at 3rd.
Now be mindful of this. Dietrich in the on-deck circle, so you're talking a lefty-lefty matchup here. You may not see Holiday bunt. You may see him swing away.
He bunts to the 3rd base side, kind of stops there. And a perfect bunt for Holiday to move the go-ahead runs both into scoring position.
Tremendous job. Does go with the bunt. Couldn't ask for much more. A couple of great bunts this inning. There you go. Even backs it up. That ball slows down, so Shaw has to come get it. Only plays to 1st. All right, looks like the Brewers are going to pull their infield in here. You got your lefty-lefty matchup. I can tell you right now, Rojas will be going on contact.
A little low to Dietrich. 1-0.
Marlins 1 for 9 tonight with runners in scoring position.
Dietrich flew out to Yelich in left field in his first at bat in the 6th.
That'll work.
Called strike inside corner, may have gotten the black. 1-1. Into the seats. 1-2. Starlin Castro on deck. His home run in the 7th inning tied the game. Moments later, Brian Anderson gave them the 3-2 lead. A Travis Shaw RBI single in the top of the 8th has evened things up. Marlins trying to break the tie here in the bottom of the 8th. Fights that one off. Scatters the Marlins dugout.
Sure did. Boy, oh boy. Everybody up on the top step kind of getting into the drama of this bottom of the 8th inning. 3-3 ball game, 1-2 pitch. Watch Dietrich. All right, panic swing. That's what we call an emergency hack. That ball was already passed home. He started those hands late. But foul it off. Do what you got to do in these situations.
Able to hold up, back to third, head first is Rojas.
Yeah, this is always an intense situation for the Marlins, not just for the Marlins, but the team on offense. In this situation, you're anticipating contact. You've got a lefty in the box. Your catcher's got a clean shot at third, but you're going on contact from third. You have to get a really good secondary lead, anticipate that front foot down on the pitcher.
Got on and missed. Well, he can bring the velocity and he can take some off. Then at 80 miles an hour to retire Dietrich.
Now this is his slider, and he buried it. He put it exactly where he wanted it.
And Counsell is not going to let Hader face Castro a second time. He'll make the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Marlins with a chance to break a 3-3 tie. Run is over at third, but runners with Cameron Maben over at second as well. Tyler Saladino takes over at shortstop. One half of the double switch. Taylor Williams the other half. 33rd game for him this year.
Yeah, 2.67 ERA. Listen, he can strike you out. He's got a good arm. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, a slider to go along with it, right around 86. But I like this matchup. He has not been thrust into this situation too many times this year. He's only had one inherited runner. Did not score, but again, only the one. This is his 33rd game. He's usually getting clean innings. As we know right now, Castro can hit anybody's fastball, especially up in the zone.
He has been red hot the last 2 weeks. This one popped straight up. And who wants it? It'll be Aguilar. As Castro, it's a homer in a silo, but not enough. 3-3. by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Good ball game to start the final homestand of this first half of the season before the All-Star break. Brewers here for 3, a day off Thursday, and then the Phillies heading into the break. Kyle Bearclaw in his 42nd game this year. Not a save situation, but would like to get this game to the bottom of the 9th inning, still tied, give the Marlins a chance to walk things off. They'll face 8, 9, and 1 for the Milwaukee Brewers here in the 9th inning. 5 2/3 to start for Jose Urena, gave up 2 runs. Javi Guerra worked an inning and a third, gave up a hit. And then Drew Steckenrider saw his 19 2/3 inning scoreless streak come to an end by giving up the base hit that tied the game. Nottingham, Broxton, Saladino. The first pitch to Nottingham is a strike. His first 2 major league hits. A double in the 5th, a single in the 5th, a double in the 7th. That one misses just low, 2-1. Left-handed hitters 115, righties 127 against Bearclaw. A little outside, 3-1. Of course, Bearclaw had his 20 2/3 scoreless inning streak snapped last week against the Rays. It was the longest by a Marlins pitcher this year. 95 upstairs. Now, good run. That but very much a hitter's count. 3-1. Nottingham sitting on the fastball. Got it. We'll get it above his hands. Three and 2. Got him. Yeah, this is coming right at you. 2-seam fastball, little arm side run. You see it there as it makes its way to that inner third. Nottingham, a real big swing, I'll tell you. Not enough to catch up with that 95 heat. 1 out for Keon Broxton. Well, one thing you noticed the other night in Washington against Mark Reynolds was maybe a tiny mechanical flaw. You see any of that tonight so far?
He looks good. He's able to get the ball away. The problem that he had in DC was that front side was opening just a little bit. And what it does is it creates run on the fastball because you're opening early. Your arm starts to drag. Everything was to the inner third. Tonight he's able to get the ball away. Right there, good sign. Even though he missed off that outside edge. Now that looks like the old claw. For sure. That front side staying open until he points towards home and drives towards the plate.
Castro backs up to get the hop and then gets Broxton for the second out of the inning. Brewers closer Corey Knebel. Tyler Saladino takes low. Saladino traded over from the White Sox to the Brewers in April. An exchange of cash going back to Chicago for Saladino, who was originally a 7th-round pick of the White Sox back in 2010. Two and one. Bearclaw delivers, and this one fly out to right field. Anderson underneath it, and the Marlins will head to the bottom of the 9th inning with a chance to walk things off. They've done it before. Rojas has done it. Welcome back. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Time for the Coors Light refreshing finish. Brian Anderson off of Josh Hader. Second half of back-to-back home runs. First Castro, then BA, while they were still celebrating the first home run. At the time, it gave the Marlins a 3-2 lead. It's now 3-3 going to the 9th inning, and Anderson leads off. Yadiel Rivera in the on-deck circle with the pitcher's spot due up next, then Martin Prado.
Well, sometimes you got to get away from your own game plan. You know, there's every hitter's got a book, Paul. You know, when you get into the box, and you know sometimes you got to swing at the first pitch. Like Anderson, first career home run on the first pitch. Certainly known for taking a pitch or two when he gets in the box. What's he do right after the Starlin Castro home run? Swings right away, right on the first pitch he sees. Boom.
The 0-2 pitch is upstairs. Ball and 2 strikes from Williams. Came in to get the last out of the 8th inning. And Starlin Castro to pop up. Aguilar put it away. Here's back out for the 9th. Bearclaw with a 1-2-3 9th inning. Strikeout, a ground out, a fly out. 1-2. Sticks the bat out. Floats one out to Broxton in shallow right for the first out of the inning. Well, here's Yadiel Rivera. Marlins have 4 walk-off wins this year, and this guy responsible for 2 of them. A couple of days removed from his first big league home run.
Yeah, we need a combination of things here, though. There's nobody on to drive in, so we're going to need his first big league home run, and the fact that there's nobody on, we need a walk-off homer.
There you go. Just marry the 2.
That's right. Well, 6 for 21 on the season. Pinch hitting. He's done a very nice job. He does have a double.
1-1. Let's go back to Saturday night against Max Scherzer to left center field. Now, this is one of those moments you don't really care the score. It's your first big league home run. Welcome to the show, man. Come on.
There's no doubt about it, but I told you. You want to tell it's the first big league. He hit it off Scherzer.
No, trust me.
That's where that's going to go for the rest of his life. 40 years from now, he's going to be like, yes, young grandkids, I took Max Scherzer deep.
Three balls and a strike.
Williams has given up 1 home run to a right-handed hitter. Come on, his 4-seam fastball.
Here's the 3-1. Pops this one up. Out to center field. It's Lorenzo Cain. 2 away. Martin Prado, couple of singles, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th. He takes strike 1. To second base, this is Miller. And we head to the 10th inning. Tied at 3. AT&T, the official sponsor for Extra Innings. 3-3 as we go to the top of the 10th inning.
I'll tell you what, I know who's been liking this first half for the Marlins. AT&T.
There have been a few. Yadier Rivera stays in the game. He'll play third. Why do you say that?
Well, all the extra innings that we played here at Marlins Park in the first half.
Still, we played 16 innings, right? And that was the one
twice.
No, but I'm saying in the last extra inning game that went 16, that gave the Marlins the most extra innings played, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was only like 5 days ago. I mean, you're talking about it like it was a month ago.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, there's been a lot of free baseball here at Marlins Park here in the first half, is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. Like, they'll get to the All-Star break after their 98th game, and it's seriously going to feel like game 105.
Yeah. There's been a lot of overtime. Well, it's guys like Brad Ziegler who have been keeping the zeros coming. It's part of that, right? 17 of his last 18 appearances scoreless. How about an ERA .47?
Lorenzo Cain takes a strike.
$18 punch-outs. Boy, oh boy, that number has really been going up, even going back to last year. I'll just flat out say this is the best Brad Ziegler's looked as Marlin.
Well, here's the thing. Unless you really want to crunch the numbers and go person by person, and that would take 2 hours. Trust us when we say this. If you look at the bullpen numbers the last, what do you want to say, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe since June 1st?
Yeah.
The numbers are a bit skewed here and there, but we talked about Bear Claw had 20 2/3 scoreless inning streak, and Steckenrider had 19 2/3 scoreless snap tonight. Just showed you the numbers for Ziegler and how good he's been. I mean, his bullpen has been terrific, but sometimes it's been the blow-ups that will skew the numbers.
Sure. Well, kind of get to the four-headed monster. No disrespect to anybody else, but between Ziegler, Conley, Steckenrider, and Claw, I mean, it has been crickets.
So Cain walks, and that'll bring up Yelich.
Now here's an interesting dynamic. Careful with Ziegler. He can quicken his delivery time up to home, but at times can be a little bit longer.
And the base hit through the left side for Yelich. Cain on his way to third. He'll get there easily, and now 2-2 goes Yelich. He's in there.
Now a base hit through the left side. Yelich was anticipating this throw all along. Cain sees the ball go through the infield. He's going to third base, no doubt about it. Dietrich had to go far to his left. He comes up and throws towards third, allowing allowing Yelich to move into second base. I saw Ziegler right there. Certainly reading the situation as well.
So now Aguilar with 2 in scoring position. The infield will play in. And an excuse me swing fouled off down the right side. National League leading 23rd home run earlier in this ball game in the 4th inning.
You see the approach from Aguilar. Aguilar really trying to stay inside that baseball and go the other way. He may be a good setup for one of Ziegler's sliders. He's not seen it yet. 2 sinkers.
enough off of that one, or what? 76 miles an hour.
There you go. That's the slider. That's what you were trying to get to. And Ziegler certainly picked up on that. Aguilar was really trying to stay inside the baseball. So what you want to do in that situation there is he's trying to really lead with the knob, use the slider off that outside edge.
Well, that's a big out, and they'll intentionally walk Shaw to load the bases, set up a force anywhere for Brad Miller. Miller was intentionally walked his last time back in the 8th inning. Other than that, a couple of ground outs and a strikeout in the 4th. Middle infield back, corners, Rivera at 3rd, Rojas at 1st, even with the bag. And Ziegler gets the ground ball that he needs to get the double play to get out of the inning. What a job by Brad Ziegler. A walk and a hit, and with the bases loaded and 1 out, gets the 6-4-3 double play to get out of the bases loaded jam. Another chance to walk it off. By Brad Ziegler doing what he does best, getting a double play when he needed it most. The intentional walk to load the bases and then 6-4-3 to get out of it.
Well, really no surprise. I mean, he gets the ball on the ground as well as anybody in the game. Here's the sinker. That's the pitch. That's out over the plate. I mean, Miller's telling himself, okay, I know what I'm dealing with here. Don't hit the ball to the middle infielder. Wait a minute. I just hit the ball to the middle infielders. There it is. 6-4-3. That's how it goes.
So some changes for the Brewers as Jonathan Villar takes over at second base. And Corey Knebel takes over on the mound. The closer for the Milwaukee Brewers, 11 for 13 in save opportunities in his 25th game this year. He'll face Riddle, Rojas, and Maben. Knebel missed a little time this year with a strained left hamstring from about the first week of the season, April 6th to May 8th.
Knebel throws hard. He's got a big arm. Four-seam fastball, 97, 98 miles an hour. Slow curve, 80-81.
3-0 to Riddle. He has 2 hits in this ball game, walked and scored in the 4th.
Well, 3 of the 7 hits he's given up to left-handed batters this season have been home runs.
Three-one on the way. And home plate umpire Brian Gorman says Riddle went, so the count is full.
Wow, the great equalizer. I'll tell you what, Abel's willingness to throw this curveball. I mean, he's banking on a swing right there. He's banking on a hitter, telling himself that he's going to pull the trigger on this 97-mile-an-hour fastball almost blindly. And he threw a breaking ball and got the swing and miss.
Three-two. Grounded to first base. It'll be Aguilar for the first out of the inning. Here's Miguel Rojas. Of the 4 walk-off wins this year for the Marlins, Rojas got it all started. Second game of the year. In the 17th inning against the Chicago Cubs, a walk-off single. Breaking ball in there for a called strike. He certainly could do it on his own with one swing of the bat. He's got 7 home runs, but his last a 2-homer day in Atlanta on May 20th. He singled in the 8th inning in his first at-bat tonight. Two-one pitch to Rojas. Fouled back, and it's 2-2. Last year for Knebel, 39 saves in 45 opportunities. 76 innings pitched, and a minuscule 1.78 ERA for the Brewers. Two and two. And that got Rojas. And that got him on his, I believe, his right hand. Looked like he got that left hand out of the way, and it's the left hand that's been bothering him since he was hit on the hands in Baltimore.
I'm not sure he got that left hand out of the way, though. Let's take another look. He's making his way down to first base. Let's see here.
So he gets that bottom hand out of the way, and I think it hits the top hand, the right hand.
You might be right. Yeah, it's a combination of both things, but again,
well, he's saying he got hit there too, unless they could have been pointing to where he was hit in Baltimore. Either way, his hands have been a target for opposing pitchers this year.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, with Knebel, you got to get those hands started.
Well, the Brewers are going to take a look at this. Seemed to me like it was pretty clear. I don't think there was really anything that even resembled a swing either. I mean, we saw Carlos Gomez absolutely flip out the other day when he thought he was hit by a pitch, but he
offered on a bunt.
I don't see Rojas doing that tonight.
No, me either.
Al, listen, it may be a combination of things, but it's hard for me to deny that some part of his hand got hit there, right? Because between the top hand and the bottom hand, the ball's right in the middle. You know what I mean? You hear it, and I hear multiple hits in there as well. Yeah, he's going to get first base. There you go.
There's also more of like a dull sound too, which would have been more meat than.
It very well may have been his top hand, his bottom hand, and the knob. I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with it. It's just kind of like in that area.
Yeah.
Something got hit. Who can tell?
All right, well, he's on first. Call stands. And Cameron Maben, who's got a couple of hits tonight, will step in. He's reached base 3 times, also got on with a walk in the 8th inning.
I'll tell you what, the Brewers are trusting Kane to cover some ground. Maben shoots a gap here. We may get a walk-off. These gaps are wide open.
And another check on Rojas, who's back. Little up to Maben, 1-0. Two balls and no strikes to Maben. Two 2-0 to Maben, a bluff from first and a bluff from Nottingham as well. One bluff step off the bag on that secondary lead for Rojas, but he wasn't going anywhere. And it's 3 balls and no strikes to Maben with Brian Holiday on deck. Low for ball 4. That was a close pitch. You certainly don't blame Maben for taking it. It's a low and away. But either way, Knebel did not get the call.
There's been a number of close pitches, but you're working ahead.
Brewers pitching coach Derek Johnson out to talk with Knebel. Two on, 1 out here in the 10th inning.
Well, sacrifice fly for Brian Holiday tonight. A very nice sacrifice bunt. A walk as well. Productive night behind the plate and with the bat. Opportunity to be a hero here in the bottom of the 10th.
Runner goes from second. Rojas is safe, and Maben safe at second. What a jump for Rojas. He was halfway to third before Knebel threw the baseball.
Oh,
And then Maben took off behind him.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. The Marlins not known for the stolen base. In fact, last in the National League in attempts and in stolen bases here in extra innings. I was thinking about this. Rojas the other day, he had picked up a couple of stolen bases first of the season, being a little bit more aggressive. Element of surprise.
So now Holiday ahead in the count 1-0. Sees the infield move up and the outfield move in. Yelich, Kane, Broxton left to right in the outfield. Shaw, Saladino, VR, Aguilar third to first. One and one. Are you at all surprised the Brewers aren't loading the bases here to set up a force anywhere? Double play?
I am not.
Okay.
Knebel, the ability to get the punch out. That's what he's going for here.
One and one to Holiday. Ground ball up the middle. It's a base hit. And another walk-off win for the Marlins. Brian Holiday comes through, and it's a 4-3 Marlins win.
Yeah, there haven't been too many times this season where the Marlins' legs get them the victory. That is the case tonight. A double steal in the 10th. Sets up Holiday's game winner.
Well, for all the talk of the Marlins all-star catcher, JT Realmuto, gone on paternity, his backup, Brian Holiday, is the hero with his first career walk-off hit. Congratulations. And it's a Marlins win. How about that?
Yeah, you gotta love it. Breaking ball from Knebel, as I said, kind of looking for the strikeout, able to find contact right back through the box. Job well done. Here it is again, one more look. Little out in front, but perfectly placed. And you see where the Brewers are playing. Not there.
Let's go downstairs to Craig Minervini.
Well, fifth walk-off win. Thank you, Paul. Brian Holiday, what were you thinking? And how did your bat change, if at all, when Rojas was able to steal third in a double steal?
Man, that's such a huge play right there. Both Cameron and Rojas getting to second and third. You know, with one out, you know, all I got to do is put it in play, and that's all I was trying to do.
So when he gets over to third, now you're thinking a little bit different. You don't necessarily need a base hit, but you'll take it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Talk about the base hit up the middle.
I mean, he just threw a 95 right at the top, and I was able to foul it off, and they threw me a curveball, and I was just trying to put it in play, and luckily it went up the middle.
These walk-off wins never get old, as you see Rojas scoring the winning run, and also the way you guys have been able to bounce back. You had a bit of a tough series. You come back Sunday. This ball game, you're down against Hader. Nobody's hitting, and here against.
Yeah, our pitching's been outstanding. You know, they've kept us in the game, and they did a great job today as well. And luckily we were able to come through with a big hit.
What about your defense too? And I'm sure JT is watching back there as he is awaiting the birth of his child, and he's watching. And I'm sure he's rooting for you too.
Yeah, that might have pushed her through. Maybe that gave her the last little bit she needed to get that baby out. But yeah, I know JT's proud of us.
All right, nice going, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, big defensive day, and obviously a big game winner too for Brian Holiday. The Marlins get their fifth walk-off win of the season. Let's go back upstairs.
Craig, thanks. Yeah, Holiday did a little bit of everything. A walk, a sac fly, a strikeout, a sac bunt, and a base hit. A walk-off knock for Brian Holiday, set up very nicely by the base running of the Marlins as they win this ball game. 4-3 the final score to open up a three-game set against the Brewers. Marlins Live coming up after the break.